Blizzard is doing you dirty. Every game with a competition is doing you a disservice. You're being underestimated and glossed over. Your talent unrecognized. I only realized this myself recently because of the insanely difficult feats that I've accomplished over the past couple months. Now I understand that games are just as unfair as life itself, and I want to change that. We'll dive into this topic, talk about my journey to level 100 in hardcore, while conducting an experiment, and the results from that experiment that might just interest you. Let's get into it. Diablo 4 launched to critical and audience acclaim, and then in true Blizzard fashion, they messed it up. The first 1,000 players to reach level 100 in hardcore would live on in glory forever, barring some minor restrictions. The idea of having your name engraved into a statue left a weight of permanence that most people thought was just a cool ass idea. Awesome. I wasn't going to play hardcore, but now I have to. This is a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Thought everyone until we found out that the race began 5 whole days before the game's official release. Well, of course, if you want to compete on equal footing with everyone else, you'll need to fork over $20 more. And that right there's the problem. It was an equal situation, but not an equitable one. And that's where the issue of fairness lies. Equity versus equality always comes to mind alongside this graphic, which helped me understand it fully for the first time. Take a second to soak it in. This concept affects every single person on Earth, whether they're playing games in China, or applying for colleges in the US, or sprinting 100 meters at the Olympics. Take inventory management in Diablo 4, for example. The organization of your inventory is one of the largest time sinks in any RPG. You could spend an endless amount of time putting things away in the right spot, and using a controller is the equivalent of texting on an old flip phone, as opposed to a mouse and keyboard, which feels like a smartphone in comparison. So console players should have their own racing category because of this one seemingly simple thing. It feels like nothing is truly fair when you think about it. And so I thought of an experiment that might be. This experiment would let me compete equitably alongside other players of Diablo 4, as I've always wanted to see ever since the beta days of Path of Exile, that if I had the time and if I had the resources, that I could be a real competitor for the race to 100 or other such competitions in other games. Now, if you're like me and you waste your pay time off on small, unimportant things like family or mental health or actual vacations, then you don't ever have enough time off banked up for the most important things in life, like season starts for ARPGs. You watch on your lunch break as Quinn rips, again, as Rax wears his blue hoodie, like always, as Asmongold props up viewership numbers single-handedly, while you're stuck at work earning a living like the complete normie that I am as well. Finally, here's some real content you don't have to be envious of. The first ever race to level 100 hardcore, the full-time job category. In this category, you take your total game time that it took to reach level 100 and compare that to others, rather than who can stay up longer and whoever has less IRL responsibilities at the time. Now that you know the difference between equity and equality, I'm sure you realize just how unfair these real-time races can be. Some people work 2 jobs, some people have kids, but most people, I'd say, can't spend more than half their days in front of a screen without sacrificing something or harming themselves in some way. This fixes that. Here are the results of that experiment. For season 1, I decided to play Necromancer since their malignant hearts seemed interesting, and I played the secretly strong build, Blood Surge. Even with 2 very specific bugs that reduced my total damage by a good 25 to 40%, it still slapped. It slapped so hard I started calling my character my Sanguine Queen. And I'm sure we all felt the experience nerfs, so it was a slog, and I was taking my time playing casually, just enjoying myself at first. But then the campfire chat came out and made me realize if I don't get level 100 before the patch would introduce experience buffs back into the game, it would be unfair to compare my time to the times of others who reached level 100 before me in real time, which would ruin the whole experiment. So I set off as quickly as I could. Here's me hitting level 10, then level 20, level 30, and 100. Sanguine Queen, do you have anything you want to say to everyone watching after accomplishing something so incredible? Asmongold. Asmongold, lol. Lol indeed. Taking a total of 63 hours and 32 minutes over 28 play sessions, how did I stack up against others though? Was I just a filthy casual, only able to play for a couple hours at a time, having delusions of grandeur? Or was I the best player in the world?
Tries to clean it up for Ryu. Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves! Faker, what was that?
Turns out, I'm really freaking good at this game. Here are the times I clocked for the top 25 players for Hardcore Seasonal, and here's my time. I ranked 12th amongst them. One caveat was that I was solo self-found, by the way, and I couldn't find anywhere whether these players in particular played in parties or not, but even if they did, I beat half of them. And I even kept clocking other players, and there were some that even beat my own time.
We're done! I can sleep!
Meaning they would have gotten top 10 instead of top 100. I just think that's a damn shame to go unrecognized like that. And I am positive that more players will continue to hit 100 while beating my time too. Weeks from now though, because they just don't have the time at the moment. I hope I'm getting the point across with these results. I didn't think I was as good as the min-maxers that have Excel sheets, planning their entire routes and playing the most meta builds, but I still wanted to try. Then I came in with a fun, but non-meta build and a general idea of how to level quickly from a few practice runs, and this happened. So I figured if I did have the time and the resources and opportunity to race alongside these other players, I'd do pretty well for myself. And I think that you would too. Why isn't this more of a thing? I honestly had so much fun with this, and I wasn't starving, dehydrated, or sleep deprived the entire time. Completely foreign concepts to those of us who've raced in Path of Exile before. This kind of competition would give those of us without heaps of time on our hands a real fair chance at recognition. My hope is that this kind of thinking spreads out past Diablo 4 into other games and maybe even real life. And this is all coming from someone who did place in the preseason top 1000 and who just finished in the top 250 of season 1. I want to compete with the dads who play with their kids sitting in their laps, with the guy drinking liters of Mountain Dew in his mom's basement, with top streamers, and with my friends. I think that would be so much more fun, not just more fair. I will have the VODs of my journey up on my channel. If you'd like to confirm anything I've said here in the video, you can check out D4 Armory, Hardcore Seasonal Leaderboard, position 240, character name Sol, S-O-L, to confirm the build and playtime. I'll be uploading a video on the build itself very soon. If you enjoyed the video, I'm glad. If you have ideas on how gaming could be more fair and equitable, or if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, hit me up in the comment section below. Thank you. That's the video.